Good evening. Welcome to Star Talk. I'm Ken Eccles, and thanks for being with us tonight. We have a phone line and a phone number that you can call, and that number should be displayed on your screen right now. There's also an email address you can use. That is keneckleslive@gmail.com, and that should be displayed on your screen too. I'm confident that it is. So we'd love to hear from you either by phone or by email, and I should get here around myself the devices and implements that I will need, including the one with email on it. So I'm doing that now, or at least attempting to do that now. Here we go. And the emailer says, Ken, do you know any more about the thing in Mayodan where they bought the old Unify building? And how many jobs will there be there? I don't know how many jobs will be there, but I know it is a company, as Mark reminded us last night. Mark from Mayodan reminded me, anyway, that you probably hadn't forgotten. Obviously, I had forgotten. And Mark reminded me that it will be an AI data distribution center in the old Unify building. And there'll be good paying jobs. Somebody told us the other night, $67,000 a year will be the average salary there. But I don't know how many. They haven't said how many, or if they have said, I have missed where they said how many. A data center is, as a rule, not a big employer as far as employee numbers. And we'll get back to that in a second. Well, heck. The phone's doing weird again. Why is it doing this? Hang on, we'll figure it out. Stand by. Okay, folks, those of you who are trying to call and not getting an answer, as you may have noticed, I'm going to have to restart. Going to have to restart the telephone here because it isn't doing quite what we want it to do. So my apologies. Just stand by while I attempt a restart of the phone thing. I have to lean forward a little bit so I can see it. I hate it when this happens, but it does happen. Okay, this, do that, and this is live TV, folks. This is, of course, how live TV works. Stuff happens that you don't expect to happen. And sometimes when you apply the fix, you don't get the result you expected when you apply the fix. All right, I'm going to have to go back another step on this and just restart this thing entirely. If you will bear with me. It's really weird, isn't it, that we can hear the phone, but we can't answer it. Very strange thing. Something you don't see every day. Okay, fixed. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Hello, caller. Well, we've taken one step in the right direction. We were able to answer the phone. We didn't actually get to talk to the caller, but you do one thing at a time, and you take baby steps, and you get one thing done, and then you get something else done, and eventually stuff begins to work just the way you expect it to. Eventually, but not yet. Not yet. That, do this. Anyway, talking about the AI data center in the old Unify building, data centers are not, as a rule, big number, don't employ big numbers of people. They certainly create some very good jobs, but generally it's not a whole lot of jobs. There'll be a lot of jobs, a lot of construction jobs that'll be available as they renovate the building. But as far as the number of employees it takes to run and operate a data center, it's not a huge number. So we don't know exactly how many jobs are going to be created there at the data center. But it will be a fair number of jobs. It'll be jobs that we don't currently have that we will have. And they will, obviously, as we have seen demonstrated, they will be very good paying jobs. And of course, that's one of the important points about the whole thing, is that the jobs will pay very, very well. I'm still working on the phone while we do this. You got to be able to multitask in this day and time. And that's what we're doing now. We're multitasking. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Ken. I just checking to see if you got your phone. It seems like it's working now, but
thank goodness it's working now. Well, you're here. You may as well tell us something.
Okay. Oh yeah, you found. Yeah, I was calling. I was thinking about. I was listening to the news today, and I was talking to. I was listening to Elon Musk. Pull away from Trump, and he was talking about because of the fact that Medicaid, or Medicare, or whatever, they gonna. He's cutting so many people. Out of the Medicare. Health care. And I'm just wondering what in the world are people going to do. This ones in the nursing home. And it seemed like Elon Musk fell out with it.
Well, it's Medicaid is the primary thing we're talking about, and not Medicare. There could be some residual effect on Medicare, but Medicaid is the big thing here. According to the Congressional Budget Office, about 10 million people will be removed from Medicaid. Now, the White House says that all those are people who are committing waste, fraud, and abuse. That's what the White House says. I have not seen anything to back that up. I certainly hope that everybody taken off Medicaid will actually be a crook who should be taken off Medicaid. But I would have to see some data and some numbers to convince me that that is the fact, because honestly, I'm not convinced of it right now.
Yeah, me either, Ken. And I hope and pray that, like I said, it don't get no worse than what they talk like it's going to happen. And they were showing on the news, Ken, about the truckers and all the ones that drive the big trucks and all that. They at a standstill. Nothing is shipping out. Whatever. We don't have anything coming in anymore. And it seemed like what it was, we were getting a lot of stuff coming in, like from China and whatnot. All that's been cut.
Well, China has cut down on the amount of stuff they're shipping, and we've cut down, obviously, on the amount of stuff that we're accepting from China. There's still plenty of trucks moving, but the truckers who have been affected are the ones who work from the ports on the West Coast to bring in imported things, and they don't have as much freight to carry right now, and some of them are down right now because not as much stuff is coming in. And that, of course, though, if you drill down into it, that was one of the reasons for the tariffs, is to have not as much stuff coming in. But everything that happens affects something else. And the fact that there's not as much freight coming in, that's affecting the truckers. And that has a ripple effect here, and then a ripple effect somewhere else. That's how the economy works. It's very complex.
That's true. And this, well, I'm going to let you go after this one, Ken. And the news report that I've seen, he was in the truck talking with one of these truck drivers, and he owned his own truck and all. That's the one that is hurting. The ones that own their own truck and whatnot. But the big businesses, they moving somewhat. But the ones that is hurting, he said his wife drive truck and he drive truck, and they at a standstill. And he said things are supposed to open up within the next, I think he said next month, I believe he said. But he's not, looking for that to happen. But he said right now he's at a standstill.
Well, I wish them all well.
Exactly.
As change happens, there's always somebody who suffers when things change. Now, what we hope is, as change becomes complete and a new system comes into being, if it does, then everybody goes back to work. And that's what we hope will happen, but that's not where we are right now.
Exactly. Well, all we can do is just wait and see what happens, Ken. And I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. Let somebody else call in. And you have a blessed weekend.
Thanks for calling. Phone line is open. There's the number up there. You can call us at that number. You can email us at keneccleslive@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you either way. This emailer says something. I don't know what yet. Emailer says, Ken, so you actually fixed the telephone while you were live on the air. Smooth. Well, I don't think it was particularly smooth. I wouldn't call it smooth, but looks like we did fix the phone. So there we are. It is better for the phone to be fixed than to be broken, as why some wise person must have said that at some point. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, good evening, Mr. Ken.
Good evening. Do you see us in Danville?
Yes, sir, we do. Loud and clear and good picture.
Good. Always good to hear.
Well, let's get down to business.
Okay, right down to business. What is your business?
Well, I got a message for two callers.
Oh, no. Okay, what?
Well, when it comes to the Final Four to the races, I am going to leave them in the doghouse.
All right. Do you want to specify which two callers you're sending this message to?
The Liberal and the Old Veteran.
The Liberal and the Old Veteran. The
one with the airboat.
Oh, Mr. Draper. Okay. This is a challenge here from Charles in Danville. And, obviously, as a rule, we don't allow reference to particular callers. But in the case of a NASCAR challenge, that's not such a bad thing. Charles is calling out the Liberal and Mr. Draper, promising, threatening, vowing. What are you? What is it you're vowing again? I forget.
To put whatever driver they pick not in the championship.
Oh, okay.
Their driver's going to be looking. Well, I'm going to be nice about it, but I'm not. They're going to be looking stupid.
Well, let me just refer to the list here for a second. This week, Mr. Draper has the 5, and Liberal has the 20. That's Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. You think Larson and Bell are going to be left in the dust? I don't know how likely that is.
I'm talking about the championship, when the Final Four come down to the Final Four drivers.
Okay. Well, that'll be in November. That'll be sometime in November. So we'll see how that works out. I'll forget before November, so you'll have to remind me.
Well, put it in the great book somewhere.
Yeah, write it down.
Write it down, please.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm writing it down.
I appreciate it.
All right. Now, you got the watermelon man this week, right?
Yes, sir, I do, and he's going to win.
Okay. I'm sure he hopes that he will.
Well, if so, I'll have to go down there and do something about it.
All right. Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Well, okay. Thank you, sir.
Well,
Have
thanks
a good
for
evening.
calling. Thanks a lot.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good to hear from you. Charles from Danville. Very, very confident, obviously very confident in what's coming in the NASCAR contest for him. Let's see, we got some more picks to add here. Pretty Man's taking the 8. Anybody care who Pretty Man is taking? If you do, Pretty Man's taking the 8. I can tell you that much. And okay, I guess that's all we got right now. Mr. Leaksville, the 24, Mr. Pelham and Mr. Draper, the 5. Mark has the 20. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Oh, Ken, I'm sorry I had to call back in. But look, I seen Charles today, and he told me that he was going to mop the floor with Mr. Liberal.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. It's getting really kind of intense now. So I don't know if I want to actually nurture that or give that an opportunity to spread, because this could flame out of control very, very quickly. So let's all think before we speak, and not utter things that might have unintended consequences. Where was I? Mark from Mayodan has the 20. Charles has the 1. Early Bird has the 5. Leon has the 22. Pretty Man has the 8. Jack has the 17. The Liberal has the 20. Citizen D has the 11. I'm happy, and I'm sure all of you are happy as well, that Pretty Man mailed in his pick late at night rather than sending an email during the show, which I would then feel compelled to read, because I know we'd all rather not have to hear Pretty Man's emails, and we're lucky this week. That's how it has worked out. This one says, Ken, when is the data center in Mayodan supposed to open, and how can I find out about getting a job there? Well, now I don't know that. What I do know is they said they expect to be in operation within 12 months. If there is a more precise timeline than that out in the public knowledge, I don't know it. I just know they said within 12 months. As far as applying for a job, I would call the employment office. Often what happens, usually what happens, is these things go through the employment office in Wentworth. And they certainly would know better what to tell you about it than I would know. Because I don't know anything. Knowing anything is better than what I know, because I don't know anything about how that's going to work. But what I would do, I would tomorrow call up the Rockingham County Employment Security Commission. Is that still what they call it? The unemployment office in Wentworth, and ask them. I expect they would be the source of accurate information on that. There's going to be a lot of demand for those jobs, I expect. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of demand for those jobs. My understanding, again, from what I've heard, is the company will offer training programs for people. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing, Mr. Eccles?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
All right. I saw something on YouTube last night when I was looking around.
Okay.
I guess that's not a the right term anymore. He flipped around on TV, scroll around on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Up late, I can't say you're up late night flipping channels. Say you're up late night scrolling. Anyways, I saw something on a what I would consider a fairly legitimate source, but they didn't know specifically where to point it to. And all this to say is they were talking about the big beautiful bill,
Right.
and in that language somewhere, that I'm certain of, but I'm just not exactly certain how it's phrased. But the words state and political factions, I think it is, but state is definitely mentioned, that no state or political faction shall make a law. I can't think of the phrase they used again either, but it's basically saying that they're not going to be able to make a law that will control how AI is used.
That's right.
And
it's a 10-year period. For the next
10 years. That's exactly right.
Yeah, for 10 years, no state can impose any regulation of any kind on AI. What do you think of that?
It's good and bad. You know, the way I look at this thing is that when the internet first was becoming popular among, you know, the average person, the lawmakers were so far behind that there's a lot of freedoms that we have on the internet now that we likely wouldn't have had. I feel pretty certain that if they had been able to see the future, they would have made laws prohibiting certain things that we consider freedoms that we just wouldn't accept being taken away currently.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, they would.
I think that because of that, they're trying to be more proactive now, and I think there's certain things that will prohibit the development. There's a lot we could go into about that. So, but at the same time, it's kind of scary to think about what people could do with an unregulated AI, considering the leaps and bounds that it makes month to month, year to year. It's just insane to me. So there's no telling what it will be doing 10 years from now.
Well, here's one way to look at it. Imagine, maybe it's not the right word. Imagine, project, consider something harmful, very harmful, that somebody might be able to do with AI. So considering what it might be, then the next question is, well, what might Congress or a state legislature do now to prevent this possible thing from happening without actually infringing on the liberties of everybody? I'm not expecting you to know the answer because it's a hard question. I'm just asking you that to get your reaction to it.
Well, I think it's one of those things that there is no right answer. I think that no matter what you do, you will there will be some harm on one side, and so, it's pros and cons all the way around. There is no right answer. It's more about what works for most people, and we just don't know.
I think the thing people think about, and there are a million things you could come up with, but I believe the thing that's probably on most people's minds right now is that the potential harm AI could do, or the potential confusion it could introduce into our political process. And my goodness, it could introduce a lot of confusion into our political process. But it's a tricky thing for the government to start limiting and controlling what essentially is political expression. This is a hard thing to figure out.
Well, 100%. And the thing is, all of these different AI companies and models that are being used, they all have different various restrictions that they place on them. But you can easily get around these things. Say for example, I wanted to make an image with Donald Trump and President Obama, doing something illegal, right? I could very easily make that, and even if it didn't look real, I could use a different AI to manipulate that image. It's you could do whatever you want to at this point. It's either one of those things where you just completely ban it, or we have to open it up. You know, just like you said, there's nothing. You can't stop a guy from drawing a cartoon about, you know, Trump and Obama doing something illegal, but when someone sees that, they know that it's fake. Problem with AI is that it's very difficult to know what's fake and what's not. Yeah. Which I'll say this, and I'll let you go. We're worried about what harm it will have on the political process. I'll tell you, I was certainly more worried about this election that just occurred because so few people were understanding of how good AI is. I think that by the next time we have a huge election, I think that the AI will have been so real at that point that nobody will believe anything they see. I think that you will automatically assume that it's fake unless it's from a legitimate source.
Which also could be harmful. If nobody believes anything, you know, that's also harmful, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I see it as maybe a natural, you know, I'm going to say this really fast because I know I'm taking up too much time, but they are finding now, they're going back and using, say, newspaper reports from 1920 something about, you know, that said that this happened and that happened, right? Mm-hmm. But what they're finding now is that a lot of those things are not verifiable because between, say, the late 1800s and the early 1900s, newspapers became cheaper to make for the average person to sell. And what did they want to do? They needed headlines to sell their paper. Mm-hmm. And I see this as a natural evolution. I think that we've gotten to the point where we have so many news sources and they're all for profit. So nobody's, you know, it's very hard to have something that's legitimate. I think this will weed everything out. I think that everybody will look at everything as fake unless it's from a legitimate source, and we will have fewer legitimate sources, but we will be more able to trust them. And okay. I'm going to let you go and listen to what you say, because I'd talk about this for the rest of your show.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, Mr. Eccles. Yep.
You know, these are important questions to which we don't necessarily have important answers. Everything, and I think the point he was making there at the end is every advance, every occurrence, from starting with the printing press and right on up through radio and telephones and television and the internet and now artificial intelligence, all of them could and have been used for good and for evil. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing, Mike Ken?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Talking about your last call on the subject of AI, I mean, to me, I think it's a no-brainer, but, you know, I'm a no-brainer anyway. But without regulations, I mean, what goes? I mean, you just put no regulations on anything in this world, and how's that a plus?
Well, here's the thing. We know what can be done with AI. We know it can be used beneficially. It can be used deceitfully. It can be used a lot of different ways. But can't everything? I mean, can't we say the same thing about the internet? We can say the same thing about television political ads. We can say the same thing about everything. So how is AI any different? How is AI more dangerous than say all the stuff that's on the internet right now that's deceitful and misleading? Is AI going to be worse than that?
Well, I think everything should have regulations on it, Ken. I don't know if you missed my point or I missed your point, but with the regulations, this world would be in a total world of hurt, you know.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm sorry if I did misunderstand you, I apologize. But since you've made that clear, how would we regulate AI in a way that preserves, to the extent that we can, everybody's freedom of speech and freedom of expression and freedom to use AI the way they want, artistically or however they want to use it. How do we regulate it without infringing on those rights?
I don't think you really can in some aspects, kid. I mean, just like the internet or anything as such, if you go to mess with somebody's freedom of speech, somebody's going to be mad, and I agree with some of that, most of it, to be honest with you. But like I say, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater and all that kind of stuff. But the world now has done got to where you can't use common sense anymore. I mean, some people want anything everywhere all the time, no matter how dangerous it is for the public. But I think every product needs some kind of regulation. I mean, just look at speed limits. What if there's no regulation on speed limits? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how dangerous would that be?
Many more people would die, no doubt about it. How about this? Just to throw something in. What if Congress would pass a law that says every image created by artificial intelligence has to carry a little unobtrusive watermark down in the corner or somewhere in there? There has to be something like a watermark that does not detract from the appearance of the work, but still can be identified by somebody who's trying to figure out whether that's real or whether it's AI produced. Would anybody object to that?
I'm sure there would be some, Ken, that would object to it. I mean, getting back to the political side of it, I mean, January 6th, just look at that situation. That was a riot. That was one of the most disgraceful things I think this country's ever seen. And but you got Fox News. Oh, it was just a nice day in Washington D.C. There was nobody hurt. It was all Democrats. It was all Antifa and all that. I mean, when people can't believe what they're seeing, and AI will be doing that, already are really, but it's going to be a terrible situation without regulations, some type of regulations, whatever they might be. It's not going to be pretty.
Well, according to the current law, as the earlier caller pointed out, if it passes, there will be no regulations for at least 10 years. That should get interesting.
Yeah, really, especially in the political world we're in now. Change the subject, Ken. I still was unable to get in touch with Civic all day long again. I mean, I called me, but
all right, hang on, just one second, in case somebody missed it. All of this man's credit union accounts were bought by a new credit union called Civic, and he's been trying to get in touch with Civic for how long now?
At least 2 days. Yeah, nonstop.
Okay, so no luck today.
None. No. I finally had some representative come on and answer the phone, and after waiting 2 hours, but after that, he put me on hold again, and no luck with that either. Then I tried again this evening with the same results.
All right. Now, I assume, and I forgot to ask you this last night, but before this happened, you had a physical office somewhere that you could go to, right?
Yeah, the State Employees Credit Union. Yes, sir.
Okay. So has Civic told you anything? I guess this is a stupid question. They haven't told you anything about where they will have physical office, or will they have physical offices? Is it going to be online only?
No, they told me that I could go to the bank over here, the credit union over here in Eden, the Advantage Credit Union, and there was another one in Reidsville, but without my ID membership number, neither one of those banks can help me either, and that's the problem. I
understood. You went there, but you can't do anything because you don't have an ID number, and Civic hasn't given you an ID number.
Correct.
So basically, you're still in the same fix you were in last night.
Yes, sir. Pretty so. Yes, sir.
That's crazy. Well, keep us posted on that.
All right, Ken. All right, Ken, you have a great weekend, man. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Thanks for calling. Phone line's open. You can give us a call at that number. Our email address is keneckleslive@gmail.com. You can send us an email or give us a call, and we've got an email or two waiting over here. This one says, Ken, I think the government ought to take control of AI. We'll get back to this in a second. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Ken. Speaking on the AI situation.
Yeah.
I think the man of wisdom have come up with a great solution.
Who is the man of wisdom?
Ken Eccles.
Oh, no.
But the last idea that you said, it would let people know that this is creative art and not factual content.
Oh, the watermark thing. Yeah, I don't see any problem with that.
That's right. It's no problem with that. You're not infringing on anyone's right or whatever. But the dangers of not being regulated is they can generate images and all that can cause security breaches, and also defamation of characters. And how are you going to address those things if they are all legal?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? I talk to people, not a whole lot of people, but a fair number of people who have never used AI, who've never used an AI image generator, and they don't know. They have no idea what can be done. They think, I guess they sort of picture in their mind, yeah, you can make like a cartoon of somebody. But no, it's not a cartoon, folks. These images look absolutely real, and a lot of people don't realize that yet. But it's crazy what can be done.
One thing now, they have an image out there now that even fooled the president. They have an image, I don't know if you've seen it, that this clone of Biden, because they saying that Biden was executed in 2020, and each time we see him now, it's only a clone of him, and so they could create an image where, what if a person created an image and said the president news conference and he's declaring war on such and such a state or whatever like it. And I mean, even though it's not true or whatever, his people could be held in check. But look at the millions and millions of people online that will think we going to war and react and all. So I think there should be severe penalties when people create images that are a security breach, endanger our security, and defamation of characters.
Well, it's all part of the stew of things that we're going to have to figure out. And let's add, again, for folks who haven't used this stuff, it isn't just pictures that it can create video. It can create authentic looking video of anybody saying or doing anything. Those of you who are not up to speed on this, you maybe you want to get up to speed, because what's going on right now is beyond anything we have ever had before.
Right. And Ken, after years and years of dentists and other people telling us fluoride help us avoid tooth decay, now we have a non-doctor who believe in swimming in water with fetus and bacteria tell us that fluoride should not be added to our water system. Now, this is a free service from the government that improve our health condition, and it's being attempted to be taken away.
Well,
You know?
we can the good thing about this is the Secretary of Health and Human Services does not control. These decisions are made by state and local governments, and RFK
Yeah.
Jr. cannot force anybody, at least not yet, cannot force anybody to do anything in this area.
Yeah, yeah. And lastly, this woman testified today that P. Diddy held her over a balcony 7 stories high. Now, this is sadistic, wrong. No Christian or anybody can condone these freakouts that nut was having. And I repeat for the great book, The Prayers Will Pardon. And thank you for your time, Ken.
Well, thanks for calling. The phone line is open right now. There's the number. You can email us at keneccleslive@gmail.com. This email was saying, I think the government ought to take complete control of artificial intelligence because it's going to be misused in all the ways that you say, and only government control can stop it from being misused. But who stops the government from misusing it? I understand your point. I absolutely understand your point, emailer. But who regulates what the government does with it? This is sticky business here. It really is. This emailer says, hey, Ken, who's your pick this weekend? Oh, no. I'm going to have to make another pick. Bad stuff happens whenever I make a pick. Let me have a look at the list here. Michigan. Michigan. You know, I'm gonna pick the one. I'm gonna go with Charles from Danville, and I will pick the one for Michigan. So there's my pick for Michigan, the one. That's going to scare you, I know, if you pick the one. Hello, Ken. This is the lady. We'll get back to the lady in black in just a second. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Ken. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Enjoy your show, and I just wanted to give a shout out the Rockingham County High School girls softball team.
Okay.
They went last weekend. I don't know if you heard or not. They went last weekend to the state championship, and they won it.
The Cougars girls softball team, state champions. It's time everybody heard about that.
Oh, yes.
Well, good for them.
Like I said, I just want to shout out and tell them I'm proud of them. So enjoy
Absolutely.
your show and have a good weekend.
Well, thanks for calling, and congratulations to the softball team from Rockingham County High School for winning a state championship. Rockingham County High School has had some ball players come through lately. The girls softball team and the baseball team, some terrific teams these last several seasons at Rockingham County High School. And congratulations to all of them, each and every one of them, especially to the softball players who brought home that state championship trophy. Hello, Ken. This is the lady in black, and my pick for the Michigan race is the number 20. Number 20. Lady in black has the 20. There was another one back here earlier. Ken, Mr. NASCAR checking in. I think it's high time for the 77 to win a race. He's been close and closer, and he hasn't gotten there yet. But for this week, give me the 77 at Michigan. And let me put my earbud back in. I hate it when stuff falls off of you, stuff that you need. There we go. Mr. NASCAR taking the 77. Okay. That's in the book for Mr. NASCAR. We have not yet haven't heard from Nice Guy or Chat GPT. Haven't heard from Nice Guy or Chat GPT. Who else have we not heard from? I think that's all we're missing. Nice Guy and Chat GPT at this point. Getting late, just a few minutes left for your phone calls and emails on this edition of Star Talk. Hello, Ken. I think you unusually said a smart thing. You had to put unusually in there. Yeah. I think you unusually said a smart thing. I think that idea about the watermark in every AI creation is a good idea. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's foolproof because it's obviously not foolproof, but it certainly would be a good place to start the discussion. Thank you. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken, it's Mark from Maridan.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to let everybody know June 14th is Donald Trump's birthday, and I've already sent him a birthday card.
Okay, June 14th is the president's birthday. Do you always send the president a birthday card, Mark? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I sent one to Joe Biden last year. November 20th was his birthday.
Do you ever get a reply?
Yeah, well, I get stuff in the mail or whatever once in a while. I think I sent like three or four things to Joe Biden last year, and it took about 6 months for him to reply to me.
6 months? Well, you know, sometimes things move slow. That's a good idea, Mark, to always send the president a birthday card. That's very thoughtful, and I hope you always get. Of course, it'll be a form letter. It won't be anything personal, but I hope you'll always get something back in return for your card.
Yeah, I hope so. I sent Trump one of them kind of has plays music on it. The musical card.
Oh, a musical card. What does it play?
Yeah, it had it said something about "You Rock" or something. It had inside the music was like "We Will Rock You" by Queen.
Okay, I don't know if the Secret Service will let that get to him or not, but I hope he at least hears about it.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for calling. Yeah, the Secret Service might be a little nervous about cards that open up and do something, making it to the president's desk. But that's a great idea, Mark. A great idea. Good for you for respecting the presidents of the United States, and always sending them birthday cards. June 14th, as he mentioned, President Trump's birthday. I'm going to go back and look at this one again that says I had a good idea. I'm not going to read it again because I know you don't want but it's really unusual for me to get an email that says I had a good idea. Just want to glance at that again before I delete it, because I don't expect I'll be seeing very many of those. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Ken, I've just used AI for the first time. I've been hearing about it all this time. And then I went online and I found this place where you could do a certain number of pictures for free without having to pay anything. You know, most of them will let you do that. So I didn't want to spend any money on it, but I did the 10 free pictures that they said I could do. And I got to say, it's not what I had expected it to be. It looks a whole lot better than I thought it would look. And that's with me not really knowing exactly the right things to tell it. Based on what I read, it makes a big difference how you talk to it. You've got to tell it exactly what you want to see, and you've got to tell it in ways that it will understand what it is that you want. And it takes some practice, I think, to get that exactly right. But I can tell you that what I did, just without any knowledge at all of the right way to go about it, really amazed me. And I can see why. I can see why people are concerned about what can be done with it. It's something we all need to think about and be ready for. Tell me again what it is in the big, beautiful bill that relates to artificial intelligence. The paragraph in the big, beautiful bill, and it's, I don't know what page it's a 1,000-page bill, and I don't know what page this is on, but it's in there. It says that no state for a 10-year period, for 10 years from when the law takes effect, if it takes effect, that no state can make any regulation or pass any law that in any way regulates artificial intelligence. And that's what it says. 10 years, hands off artificial intelligence. So we can all ponder the implications of that. That's all the time we have for Star Talk. We're on the air Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Ken Echols.